However, my mind was so lost in the passing of my grandfather, and the thought of inheriting something so big the thought of inheriting something so big that it had haunted my mind the entire night until the next morning, even though she was clearly thinking of Sherlock. I shook my head to try to clear the sleepiness out of me to no avail. I really didn't get any sleep last night. This sounds like zombies live tweeting. If you guys want to see the rest of this episode, just check Twitter. It's already time to wake up. Wait, school. As soon as I realized I had to go to school, I slid out of bed, looked at the vanity mirror. That's a relief. Luckily, there was barely a bruise on my cheek. You had to squint to actually see it. I doubted anyone would actually notice it unless they leaned in really close. Breathing out a sigh, I got dressed, took my backpack, and caught the bus to go to school. It wasn't even hours before everyone heard of the news. I was approached in school, given condolences for my loss. However, that wasn't what shocked my friends.
Wait, so you have the whole Anderson house to yourself? Lucky as hell, man! Quit being so sensitive, Naomi. Quit being so vulgar, Suzu.
I
Naomi's definitely right.
Naomi?
Yep, Naomi.
Oh, man, come on! See? She knows about proper public taste. I know how to be a lady. Sheesh.
Is her belt a bow tie?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Guys, I'm going there after school today because my parents want me to get used to living there.
Seriously? It hasn't even been a day since you came back to school.
She left school? I know, but my parents want me to try living there as soon as possible.
Still, that's really fast. Are you going to be okay?
Of course. Giggle. But even in the comfort of my best friends, life seemed to keep testing me. And then we had a test in math class. Oof.
Hey! Don't go around shoving people like that.
What the?
Whoops. Did I strike a nerve?
What the? That's Lizette. That's Lizette. No wonder no one likes Lizette. Like, she just looks angry.
Come on, Dino. Are you not reading anymore?
Oh, I'm alright.
Where are you up to?
I don't know.
She let out a
Lizette's there.
small laugh.
Oh,
Just-
wait.
You've gone on too
Okay,
far.
I'm sorry. I thought someone was reading. I thought like one of the characters was. She let out a small laugh as she twirled her hair around her finger. Lizette, one of the last people I wanted to see today. I agree. I don't like
It's
Lizette.
not me you should be apologizing to.
She's like Draco Malfoy, except a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, Anderson. Hey, how's it going?
I'm alright.
Haven't you already heard, Lizette? Of what? Her grandfather's passing. Ah, well, I'm sorry about that.
She probably doesn't own a TV. There are only a few people I can respect that don't own a TV, and she is not one of them.
I do mean it. Earnestly. Why wouldn't I?
Typical Capini. Isn't her family
I wish we
involved
could
in
skip this
mafia or
part, because
something?
she's just
I
annoying.
wouldn't be surprised if she brought out the bats from behind her back right this moment.
I had nearly forgotten the crowd that followed Lizette, which was almost comprised of people that no one wanted to see on a typical school day. No one had the slightest idea why exactly they followed Lizette around persistently, but they labeled themselves as social equals with her. That's
Out of
sad.
line.
That's really sad.
From an honest family.
Says the one whose family profits from political scandals.
Yeah, your dad doesn't make anything unless he's in the court with dirty politicians.
Oh dear. So much anger.
Rude girl.
Let's all calm down for a second, alright?
Grr.
I'm sure Anderson needs some time to recuperate. I mean, what just happened? We need to give her some respect.
Ellipsis. Just stop. Stop acting like that already. Like you feel sorry for me.
What are you talking about?
I'm sure you're happy seeing me like this. You already have everything you've wanted, and now seeing me like this, life couldn't get any better. Just look at Naomi's face right now. It's hilarious. What? Bitterness seeped into me, and words started flying out of my mouth without filter. Notice I will censor. But honestly, I didn't care. I was so consumed by anger that I only saw Lizette in front of me. What exactly am I to you? Just another obstacle in your course? Is that what I am? I'm sick of it, Lizette. I'm sick of all these charades. I'm sick of you. Gasps rose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hallway. Wait, they were not in the school hallway?
I think she would had a I only see you type of.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Face.
Wait, oh my, it's like, what? Just, I wanted to take the time to point out that it is in fact not raining outside. Gasps, okay, so let me reread that. Gasps rose from the crowd around her, and I was brought back to the school hallway. Even my friends beside me looked at me in surprise. One girl looked like she was going to speak up, but Lizette held her hand up to stop her. There was an emotion in her face that I couldn't quite make out. But I could see it in a form of pity. That just looks like angry.
That looks
but
angry.
Pity in her eyes. No, dare pity me. I looked away from her. I didn't want to see the emotion in her eyes when she was talking to me. She didn't have the right to look at me that way.
I'm sorry. I know your grandfather passing away must have really taken a toll on your emotions.
She stepped towards me and put her hand on my shoulder, giving me a tiny smile, as if for old time's sake. But for some reason, I didn't feel comforted at all. Not that I was just angry at her, but the expression on her face when she leaned in close to me contorted into something complex. Something that was different about her. I couldn't quite place my finger on it, but something about her definitely changed.
Well, I'll be going for now. Track meet responsibilities and all of that stuff. See you later.
She's gonna run track in jeans. Good luck with that. Something about Lizette made me feel uncomfortable. I wasn't just angry, but also uneasy. What was it? I had never seen her like that before. But I decided to pay it no further attention. I decided to pay no further attention to it. She continued running down the hallway with her gaggle of friends behind her. You know what a flock of geese are called? Gaggle.
A gaggle of geese.
A gaggle of geese. I refocused my attention to Miss Phillips, who was walking down the hall towards me.
Is everything all right, girls?
Nothing we couldn't handle, Mrs. P. Just a bunch of snobs.
Suzu, hush! It was nothing, Mrs. Phillips.
I see. Well, Miss Anderson.
Thank you, Miss
please
Phillips.
accept my Your grandfather was a good man. He really upheld the philanthropy of his company's policies, and the money that went towards charity, too.
I know. He was amazing. I really looked up to him, and I want to be as good as he was.
Well, I know that you'll be as great as your grandfather.
Hell yeah, she will. She'll be 10 times better than her grandfather.
Would I? Would I really be better than my grandfather? Everyone seemed to have high expectations for me. I wanted to do my best and make my family proud. But to be better than my grandfather? I wasn't sure about that. From outside the school window, a familiar blue car pulled up to the curb. Undoubtedly, it was my father in the driver's seat. Oh, my ride's here. Well, I guess I'll see you both tomorrow.
Want us to come with you?
Oh no, it's okay. I'll be fine. See you. Hey, Dad.
Hey, honey.
As I got into the car, I noticed my father looked troubled, clutching at his steering wheel and staring straight ahead as if something was really bothering him.
About what happened yesterday. I'm sorry for yelling at you. Does your cheek still hurt?
No, it's nothing to worry about.
I mean it. I shouldn't have laid a finger on you. You know that you're my most precious daughter. You're all that I have.
Ellipsis.
I...
Yet he couldn't bring himself to say what he could never say to me for such a long time. I always wanted to hear those words to affirm how he really felt, but I guess even now he couldn't say it to me.
He left his wife.
I turned my head to look out the window. There was no point in waiting for something that was never going to come. And just like that, he started to drive and the conversation between us ended. I decided to focus my attention on the passing scenery. We were taking the usual route because they're not talking. Nope. We were taking the usual route to grandfather's house. It was located within the vicinity of the school district, but it was still pretty far away from the school and from where our house was. He had always lived alone. He insisted on doing things by himself, even at his age, living in such a large house. I wondered, did he pass away with no one on his side as well? It sounded so lonely and sad. It was strange that he decided living all alone in his large estate. If anything, he could have lived with us. Though he and my father probably would have given each other the silent treatment the entire time. Maybe living alone was preferable to that. Actually, I hadn't visited him for quite a while. Visits to his house were most frequent when I was a child, and I had grown up long since then. Last time I visited, though, I thought he looked as usually was, happy and healthy. But things change. In the back of my mind, I knew that he would have to leave one day. It's not like humans could last forever. So why did my heart still feel so heavy? The car ride was mostly spent in silence until he spoke up again.
How was school? Maintaining your grades, I hope.
Yeah. I've been trying my best so far.
Trying? That's not really doing the best you can, is it?
He's a jerk.
I know.
Ellipses. With my father, only some words I said were filtered through his ears, and it was difficult to keep up a conversation without eventually talking about academics or my future, even if something was loosely based on it. He always found a way to integrate it whenever he talked.
Anyway, your belongings are in the trunk. There isn't a lot, so I'm sure you can manage bringing them inside the house.
He's not even going to help him carry her in the building.
I know.
Jerk.
Terrible.
The usual silence resumed between us. I really wasn't sure what to say around him, especially when most of the time we didn't share the same opinions. One question did linger in my mind, though. If he was going to justify acting so nonchalant about grandfather's funeral, I had the right to at least know why. Leave it
Oh.
alone, or try again. This could change things. I'd say we leave it alone so we can get to the good part.
Yes. Leave it alone.
There was no use talking to him about this. It would be like reopening a wound, or reapplying a bruise. I sighed. He gave me a side glance out of curiosity, but didn't pursue it any further. Typical. I leaned against the car door and started at the window. I really couldn't think. What would this place be like? I had been to my grandfather's house before, but it was one thing visiting and another actually living there. How would I manage living on my own, without any training, to really care for a house? I knew that naturally the bills would be paid by my parents, who inherited grandfather's stocks to the corporation, but I never lived independently before. Thinking about it made me feel like some kind of bird being pushed out of the nest. Though I was technically an adult, I felt unprepared and a bit daunted at the prospect of actually moving into a new place. Most people my age would be ecstatic about moving out. After all, it would symbolize some kind of change in their lives, like being on the road to independence. But I felt it was nothing of the sort. I really hoped I wouldn't let my parents down. I wouldn't want to let grandfather down. What would he be saying right now? I gazed up at the passing clouds in the sky. If you're out there, grandfather, how would you be doing? Would there be an... And of course, no answer. What was I doing? Searching for an answer in heaven that would or would not exist. I ducked my head to stare at the blur of trees from the car window. My head was definitely going into the clouds there at that moment. Either way, I found myself being driven off to my new home. The car rolled to a stop and I drifted out of my thoughts.
Here we are. Go on in.
It's not a bad house.
Yeah. It's perfectly equal on both sides.
That's a really big driveway, though.
Yeah, think of all the cars.
All right, tell Mom I love her.
All right.
I love you, Dad. Oh no, he didn't. Oh, he didn't say it. He didn't.
He just...
No,
No.
make sure you come by and visit us often. No, I'm gonna miss you lots. Nothing other than that blank stare? I paused a bit before reaching for the car door handle, waiting for any form of goodbye, but he didn't speak again. Wow.
I know.
This guy.
I know. What a...
I sighed and exited the car. Hearing my dad pop open the trunk, I saw the large 2 bags I packed last night were large enough to carry only the things I needed. I took them out, placed 1 bag on each shoulder, and closed the trunk. He then drove off, leaving me alone in front of the mansion. But I forgot the keys. Nah. I watched the blue car fade off into the distance of the road before turning to see my new home. There it is. It's huge. My grandfather gave me this? It's hard to believe. The house was framed by a set of tall gates. Do you see gates? I don't see gates.
I don't see gates.
I hesitantly pushed them aside to enter, to take in the entire estate. The house still looked like it was when I last visited him. At a glance, it was something kind of intimidating in its size, though if I came closer, it was clear that there was more to it than that. The brick walls were framed by shrubbery and lovely flowers, giving it a homey and welcoming look, but in the contrast, the tall doors into the house gave it a feeling of grandeur.
I don't see any flowers.
Who knew what was waiting for me? But I wouldn't back down at this moment. I took out the key to the front doors and unlocked them. Well, might as well make myself at home. I'll be staying here for quite a while anyways. And that's when I saw them.